The Qualicum Beach Airport, Cat 4, is located on the east coast of Vancouver Island, near the town of Qualicum Beach. It is a great flying destination, and a relatively quick flight from many parts of Vancouver Island and the lower mainland. An excellent restaurant is located inside the terminal building. Access from the ramp to the terminal building is via an exterior key-coded gate a short distance from the building. The Qualicum Beach Flying Club shares a building with the local flying school Sealand Flight. Bicycles are available for use on an honor system, so feel free to borrow them and go for an adventure. An artisan bakery is located north of the airport, down the road next to an elementary school a few minutes away. Overnight camping is possible for visiting pilots, however prior permission is required from the town of Qualicum Beach. There is an AME on site by the name of Pavel. The Qualicum Beach Airport is a mandatory frequency area with a 5 nautical mile radius. Position reports on 122.8 should be addressed to Qualicum Beach traffic. Note that this frequency is also used in Squamish and Duncan. Pilots normally make position reports on Straits traffic 123.2 outside the Qualicum mandatory frequency area. See the note on the Vancouver VTA chart. On frequency, you may hear local pilots calling out positions that are not denoted on the VNC. These informal reporting points include Rock River Beach, just located outside the MF area to the east between Nanoose Bay and Parksville area. Little Mountain, located inside the MF area about 4 nautical miles to the east-southeast of the airport. The Ascent Hangars helicopter operation, based 2 nautical miles to the southeast of the airport near the town of Coombs. French Creek Marina, abeam the airport on the shoreline, an easy to spot reference for setting up the midfield arrival. And finally, the Cranberry Fields, located just outside the MF area to the west. Pilots new to the area are often under the mistaken impression that the island shoreline runs in a north-south direction. The orientation of the shoreline near Qualicum Beach Airport is much closer to an east-west magnetic direction. This is due to local geography plus the fact that magnetic variation is about 16 degrees east in the area. The runway is oriented in an essentially east-west magnetic direction, and this distinction is extremely important when it comes to position reporting. For example, pilots arriving from the Nanaimo area are often heard saying on the radio they are south of the airport when in fact they are east of the field. The runway has a length of 3,564 feet with the runways numbered 29er and 11. It's at an elevation of 190 feet above sea level, although it is sloped slightly downhill with the 29er end being only 163 feet above sea level. The taxiways include Alpha, which runs parallel to most of the runway, Bravo, which leads directly to the ramp, Charlie, at midfield, a handy decision point for go, no-go on takeoff. Delta, which connects Apron 2. Note that it is not possible to use Apron 2 to get directly to the ramp from the flying club since it dead ends. Echo, which leads directly from the ramp to the hold short line for runway 11. Jet A and 100 low lead fuel are available on Apron 1, in front of the terminal building, at separate pumps. West for 100 low lead, east for Jet A. Run-up areas commonly used are on the ramp by the terminal, Apron 1, and on Taxiway Delta at the junction where it splits off down to the private T hangars. Please don't block access to the runway. There are 2 windsocks. They are located in the grass area between the runway and the taxiways. They are spaced at roughly equal distances from the midfield point between Taxiway Charlie and the end of the runway. There is no ATIS available at the Qualicum Beach Airport. You can check the aviation weather reports from Comox and Nanaimo and extrapolate between the two. On the ground, Little Mountain can be used to estimate the visibility and cloud heights. Its peak is 820 feet above sea level and is located about 4 nautical miles southeast of the airport. There is limited winter maintenance. Snow removal is normally conducted in the mornings when applicable with a surface analysis published via NOTAM. Aircraft parking is available on Apron 1 and the grass tie-down area near Apron 2. On Apron 1, a limited number of short-term day-use parking spots are available on the paved ramp area between the terminal building and the fuel pumps. For longer-term parking, there are several parking spots available on the grass tie-down area. Visiting pilots using transient aircraft parking areas overnight are encouraged to make a donation in the receptacle provided at approximately $10 per Town of Qualicum Beach Bylaw 457.05. Qualicum has RCAL type kilo lighting. It can be interacted with on 122.8. Click the microphone 7 times within 5 seconds to turn it on high. Click 5 more times for medium, or 3 times for low. Only pilots familiar with local terrain should use this aerodrome at night. Night operations are prohibited when the PAPI system is out of service. At night, the circuit altitude increases to 1,400 feet above sea level. Night operations are restricted between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. local time. Medevac only or prior permission is required during this time period. Aircraft arriving from the lower mainland or Sunshine Coast should note that the shortest overwater crossing is to go from the middle of Lasqueti Island to French Creek. This path will keep you well away from the CYR 107 as denoted on the VNC. Due to the proximity of the airport to the shoreline, there's often a haze layer that makes spotting the field difficult. The French Creek Marina can be used as a handy visual reference point. Pilots arriving from Campbell River can simply follow the shoreline along the coast, being mindful of the Comox Zone and the Courtenay Air Park. Requesting flight following on 123.7 with Comox Terminal is highly recommended. Pilots arriving from Nanaimo need to avoid the NOTAM area around Skydive Vancouver Island's drop zone. This area is approximately 7 nautical miles to the east-southeast of the aerodrome, along the highway between Nanoose Bay and Parksville. It is marked on the VNC with a parachute symbol. Pilots arriving from Port Alberni will typically start monitoring the Qualicum frequency 122.8 around the Horn Lake area. This narrow valley crossing point in the Beaufort mountain range is often congested. Consult the CFS procedures and see the diagram for noise abatement procedures. Avoid overflight of noise-sensitive areas at less than 1,000 feet above ground level. Right-hand circuits are required for runway 11 as per CARS 602.906. It is recommended that pilots descend to circuit altitude on the upwind side of the airport, over the water by French Creek Marina, then cross the aerodrome at midfield before turning downwind. This approach makes windsock inspections easy. Please refer to the Transport Canada publication VFR Circuit Procedures at Uncontrolled Aerodromes or other relevant documents for additional information. Commercial operators often take a straight-in approach to runway 29er when arriving from an easterly direction. IFR traffic on the RNAV GNSS approach will be coming at an angle to the normal VFR flight path. Skydive is also an important operator to listen for on the radio, as they are often returning to the airport in a rapid descent from high altitudes. These descents often take place over the water in the area between French Creek Marina and Lasqueti Island. Several helicopter companies operate in the area. Ascend Helicopters has a base 2 nautical miles to the southeast of the airport. This is fairly close to the base turn for runway 29er or the downwind for runway 11. If they are lifting off while you are in the circuit, make sure you listen carefully to their intentions and make regular position reports. Helpful landmarks in the circuit include the following. The Qualicum Beach Water Tower, useful for aligning your base and final turns for runway 11. The teal roof of Oceanside Elementary School, a good reference for aligning your base leg to runway 29er. The Island Highway, handy for approximating the downwind leg, although note that it is at an angle to the runway. The approach to runway 29er is notorious for downdrafts due to a ravine that crosses perpendicular to your path on short final. More often than not, you will lose some altitude as you cross over it. Mechanical turbulence and wind shear are common in this area, as are birds off the end of the runway. The approach to runway 11 passes over a dog park and a sloping grassy bank, and a paved road just beyond the end of the runway. The differential heating of these surfaces can lead to turbulent air on short final. Several practice areas are used by Sealand Flight for training. A couple of these are located west of the airport over the water as well as inland by Horn Lake. Also, they will often practice to the southeast over the Englishman River. That concludes this video. Thank you for your time and for watching. Have a safe flight.